Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Conversation with History. I am Thekla Wilkie. And guess what? I'm in Kano. And one person had that power to pull us all the way from Abuja to Kano. He was once the governor of Jigawa State, and he was also a former minister of foreign affairs, and he was even in the legislation. And we're talking of none other than His Excellency Sule Lamido. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much.
And we were supposed to actually have this interview in Jigawa. That would have been an opportunity for one to look around Jigawa, because once upon a time, Jigawa was actually part of Kano. But for some reason, when you mention Kano, the name Sule Lamido keeps resonating. And the question is, why is that so?
Well, going by your introduction, if you want us to go to Jigawa, we can put out this interview and then go to Jigawa and do it in Jigawa. It's better. In fact, I feel happier doing so in Jigawa State because that is my home, that is my state, even though Kano is part of me. So do we put it off and then go to Jigawa?
Oh no. We stay here now and do it. We do it. We do the interview here. So for some reason, when you look at the history of the northern politics, some have fizzled out, but you seem to have remained relevant up until now. And the question, therefore, is what has kept you in the minds of people? What is that thing that has crystallized into this following that you've had, in the years and the decades that have rolled by?
Okay, let me first refer to your first maybe statement that, I was part of Kano before I went to Jigawa, and somehow I'm neither there nor here. I'm here because I cut my political teeth in Kano State, in the old Kano State, when the military government was trying to restore democracy in Nigeria in 1978. And so politically, I cut my political teeth. I was a student of Aminu Kano, the radical leftist, and the humanist, somebody who believes, in a high moral standard of humanity. And so I learned politics, through his own political philosophy. Even though before then I had my own inherent, feelings and emotions, sentiment about humanity, concern, human empathy, and what have you. But then Aminu was able to sharpen, the feeling in me and get them properly focused. Somehow I have remained afloat in this, wild ocean where there are so many sharks, violent, with tempests and other things.
I still want to understand what really stimulates this following that you have.
It's because we stand different from the norm. We try to connect with the people. No matter where, no matter how far we go, we will still remain connected.
So would it be safe for me to say Aminu Kano was your mentor, political mentor?
Of course he was. He was.
How did you strike that relationship, and how were you able to nurture it such that, when they talk about Aminu Kano, somehow your name, keeps popping up?
You see, the Nigerian founding fathers in the mold of Awolo, Azekwe, Tafawa Balewa, Sardauna, Akintola, Osadebe, Opara, Ribado, Inoada, and those founding fathers, are people who have something called character. Are people who led by example. Are people who have this human empathy and human concern as our leaders. All right? And therefore, even though they may have different political philosophies, either, ultra-right or ultra-left, but then when it comes to tradition and cultures, they share a number of things in common in terms of what you call decency and dignity. And so this might have influenced me because they are our role models,
Okay, so it brings me to the question of politics. I mean, now we're getting into the political waters. When did you really have your first contact with politics? I know we have the political thing we do at home and all of that, but we're talking about core politics. When did you have that pact with politics in Nigeria?
I think it's a very, very long story. I don't think we have enough time to address it,
No, you can run us through.
to really, do justice to it. That's why, in my forthcoming book, which is about my own autobiography, you find that, that area was properly captured, how I went into it, what influenced me and others. But then let me say for the purpose of this interview, I was apolitical. I believe in justice by my upbringing. In the flats, where I was renting, some was Malam friends, had a guest house there. Then one day Malam said, look, he said, Sule, I said, Malam, he said, I can see in you somebody who's going to be a politician. And by the time you get into it, there'll be no moderation on your own part.
And so how did you meet the Aminu Kano? How did your path cross with Aminu
Well,
Kano?
he was the leader of the PRP in Kano, obviously. The leader, therefore, normally we go to his house before going on campaigning. And somehow, in one of those, meetings, I think he saw me and I greeted him. Like I was my bushy hair, was my tucked in, my trouser tucked in, what they call the guys of those days. I think I was having some kind of chain on my hand, a chain, and something like a necklace also on my neck.
You went the whole 9 years.
I became a guy coming from Lagos. He looked at me. He just, shook his head and laughed. He said, from where I come in? I told him my village, in Bamaina. And then he said, in Hausa, mun shiga uku. ‘Yan ƙauye idan sai ya buɗe.
What does that mean?
Yace nan gaba akwai rigima a Najeriya, ‘yan ƙauyen nan idan sai ya buɗe, mun shiga uku. Just like say, God save us for these people from the village are coming out and, appearing so prominent, and with their eyes now open, going to politics. God save us. I don't think we're saving Nigeria again. And I think he has some kind of admiration for me. So somehow, I kept visiting him. And something more Aminu Kano is that, if he sees some potential in you, he will encourage you. But then, if you are just not that kind of person, he will not make any effort to develop you, not.
So how did you get into the National Assembly?
After the campaign, then there was to be election to the House. And
what even informed it?
Huh?
What informed it? Why did you make that decision? Because you are not somebody who just wakes up and just on a whiff just say,
no. What about
there must be something that must have pushed you.
After when we went through the campaigns, it was time for us to also submit lists of names of candidates to the various, positions, House of Reps, House of Assembly, Governor, and others. To me, the excitement of campaigning was more interest for me. I mean, going out campaigning, speaking freely, saying whatever I want. Therefore, the idea of even thinking of running for an office is not even there for me. I think circumstances made me to go into the contest because there was no candidate.
And for the benefit of the young people, when you say Lagos, because then the young ones now, all they know of the National Assembly is in Abuja. And that was because Lagos at that time was the Federal Capital Territory.
Yeah, what they have, yeah.
And that's where everything, the powers that be
Absolutely.
were at that time.
Yeah.
So just for clarity for young ones who will be watching.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
Okay.
So now looking at the National Assembly, as you had it then, and what you're seeing now, in your own opinion, is there any difference? If there is, what's the difference between then, how you were, carrying out your legislative duties, and what obtains now in the National Assembly?
Let me say, I'm not making any comparison. I'm only talking about what we were at that time. Now, what we have now is for you to make the assessment and the verdict. The National Assembly had members coming from political parties, which were led by leaders. NPP by Lamido Zuke, UPN by Olo, PRP by Aminu Kano, MPN with the majority, by the core group, by the core of the Nigerian, whatever they call it, the right-wing elements, the core right-wing elements were in MPN. And then with Ibrahim of GMPP. So it means the parties, bear the mark of their leaders. They carry the aura and the authority of their leaders. And therefore there are expectations on what you do in that house. And there's something that you cannot do in that house. You cannot do that because you'll be sanctioned by the party. Because those elected in 1979 owe their victory to the leaders. For instance, in 1978, when I ran for the election, outside my own social group, nobody knew me in Kano. Nobody knew me. Who's Sule Lamido? People voting on that day when I won the election, when I voted Sule Lamido, they voted Aminu Kano. Simple. People in UPN who are voting in the West were not voting for anybody, either for Odebe or Adesanya, who were the senators, or any other person. They are simply voting all over. People from the East, Yajawachuku, and many others from the East, were not voting for their name, they were voting for Azikwe. So the election in 1978, those who won did not win on their own names or their own authority. They won on the authority and the personality and the character of the political leaders. And therefore, when you get to that house, there's something we cannot do. You'll not be tolerated because your conscience will prick you. And when you say no, it's no. Simple. The man in UPN, if he says no, is no. The man in PRP, if he says no, is no. It's also the man in GMPP.
And today, from the observations you have made, now you are a spectator, you're watching the national, and I'm sure you are abreast with happenings in the National Assembly as we have it today. What would you say the clear-cut difference between how you were presiding over legislative matters back in the day and what obtains now? And then the characters of then and now?
I don't know without trying to look down. Well, I don't know which is the right word. With all respect to the current leaders in the National Assembly, what you have today is a cocktail in the National Assembly. If you look at the National Assembly, you could say what you call a political tragedy. The Senate President was PDP governor. You understand? The Speaker of the House was a PDP chap. The SGF, Akume, was a PDP governor. Ribado, the NSA, was a PDP man by invention, by creation, because we invented him. He's our own invention. And so today, if you look at the National Assembly and even the cabinet, what you see is PDP in APC. Now, during our time, if you are the champion into another political party, like I did, you resign from the house and go to the party, to a new party. You resign from the house. That's what I did in 19, I think in, when was it? 78, 70, 79. That's what I did, I think, in 1982. When I joined MPP, when there was some kind of misunderstanding with my mother party, PRP, based on some issues which I also covered in my own book. I joined MPP, and because I joined MPP in the house, one morning I said, look, under a motion of what I want to say in the house, I said, Speaker, I have today joined, I ran from a party and I joined the party called MPP, and I'm going to run to the Senate. I came here on the authority and value and character and name of the PRP. I was unknown way back on the day I was elected.
So why did you swap?
And I was unknown. So my election was purely a PRP election based on my personality. Now, if I'm leaving the PRP, it's only fair for me to also renounce everything Mala gave me and give it back to him. Give them the seat, the prestige, the name and the history, and then join MPP. For me now to go there, if I think I'm that relevant. I feel it's morally wrong for me, while wearing the gap of PRP and its authority and its profile and its resources and its prestige, again to go and fight against it and under MPP. It's not fair. Because I can't simply imagine me fighting my party, which made me again against another party. It's simply immoral. So I came back to Kano, met with Rimi. I said, sir, we've left PDP. You are running under, we left PRP. You are running under MPP as governor. Sir, in 1990, during the election, nobody knew in Kano. Nobody knew me. They only knew Aminu Kano. They are voting Aminu Kano, not Rimi, not Lamido. Now, if we are leaving the party and join MPP, like I did, I have today resigned from the house. You too also must resign. You must resign also as a governor. You must resign. He looked at me and said, are you crazy? I say, sir, I'm quite normal. I say, sir, it's an issue of morality. Where PRP upbringing in values, in morality, in character. So if I live in the party, then we must give them everything they gave us. We should give it to them. He resigned as a governor. I resigned as a member of the House of Reps. So Narogo. And we went and ran under MPP, even though we lost. But then our conscience was very, very clear.
You have spoken glowingly about Aminu Kano.
Yeah.
I mean, as your mentor, as somebody whom you looked up to, and I possibly still look up to, even if he's gone to the other side of the Great Divide. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering why you had issues with him. Mm-hmm. What would have caused the problems between you and Aminu Kano at that time for you to have parted ways?
It's a very long story, and it needs, a very, very clear introduction with a lot of clarity for one to understand the reason why we did what we did. If you scratch it on the surface, you'll bury the motive and the purpose, and therefore, what you did may not be properly appreciated.
No, it's for history.
That's why I say no. It's in my book. All these are in my book.
Observers.
Yeah.
But at least you should just give us maybe if you can just
roll it. You see what I say?
Roll it in a few words.
It is difficult to, within 5 minutes, to capture the essence of what happened. But if you insist, maybe I don't know how to make sure that I put in context for people to fully understand and appreciate. Because when we did what we did, even though we ran the party, we ran from PRP and left our position, we were still called ingrates. Oh yes, we are called ingrates, people who betrayed Aminu Kano. I mean, we are maligned. But then even at that again,
Because what you are saying now is what some people still hold to today, that, oh, you were his boy, but you left him, when he needed you the most.
no, what I say, because people, you see, that's why, because the reason and the purpose is not known. That's why people are saying so. All right? Isn't it?
But you didn't just leave him. You also convinced Rimi
Yeah.
to leave him.
Yeah,
It must have been very compelling for you to do that.
Because you see, in us there was also Aminu's character ingrained of honor and integrity. And therefore, even though we're leaving him, we're also living on the account of what he taught us. That, if we're living, you have to live on a very, very clear reason, not something ephemeral, something more profound, something more altruistic.
And what was it? What was it?
So that's why, it is difficult for me to now give it to you in about 5 minutes. But then, with a crisis, there was some kind of, manipulations, instigations, and what have you. That's one. Number two, another thing that, having campaigned and now won power. There's all the aspect of management of power. How do you manage it? All our life all the NEFO and PRP have been in opposition. Therefore, by the time power came to them, it is not something very, very alien. Therefore, how to manage it and tackle it with all its complexities is the problem.
But did you explain? Did you go to him? I mean, since he's your mentor, did
Yes.
you ever go to him and say, "Come, see the problem that is on ground.
Listen,
how do we tackle it so that we can
you
remain one?"
see, I met him.
Did you ever reconcile with him before he passed?
The last time I met him was when the crisis was escalating. It was not abating. And the leader of the house of PRP, late Mustafa, I think it was with Aminu Kano that, whatever was happening in Lagos was all under my own mischief, blah, 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 Sule Lamido. So Lamido summoned me. I came and met him. I met him with late Adamugaya, who was then a senator, and there was Mustafa and myself, four of us. So when I entered, we sat down, and of course, he rained a lot of, he said so many things about me, chastising me that, we're ingrates, we're trying to truncate, his suffering over the last 40, 30 years. We have no idea how PRP or NEP was formed, what was the flow behind it, and how people were suffering. Now we're being elected into position. We're there now because of our greed, being manipulated and taking money from UPN, drinking beer all over, womanizing, all kind of, bushy hair on our head. So I was watching him. Of course, he went on and on, castigating me. So, I didn't say anything. Then up to the end, when he stopped, then I said, Marlon, have you finished? And I think my question, took him aback. He was jolted. I said, yeah, Marlon, have you finished? And then I think he saw the reality and sincerity in my eyes, and he saw me shedding tears. I said, Marlon, if the party you formed, the party PRP which you formed, is from the very beginning, you put a signboard in your house that, those who are qualified to join the party, or those who are unqualified to join the party, womanizers, drinkers, or whatever, those carrying with bushy hair. If you read notice board and find that, we're in that category, we'll not join. But you made it an open-ended thing. It was open-ended. So anybody could join. So what is the crime in me drinking in PRP? What's the crime in carrying bushy hair? And therefore, when he found that, the replies were being sarcastic in a way, I think he bellowed down. So Marlon, what's my fault? What is wrong with me? Drinking, chasing women, looking for money. What's wrong with that? Because it's not part of the condition of joining PRP. When I finished, Murtaba, our leader, was trying to interject. He said, shut up. He shut him down, went to his brought a book, his own biography, African Revolutionary. He said, Sule, come, bring your hand. It's a take. Go and read it and continue with the struggle. Never ever stop. Go ahead. Fight.
Coming from him.
Oh, yes. That's the last time I met him.
So what then became of your relationship with Abubakar Rimi? What became of your relationship with Abubakar Rimi? How far did you guys go before, he finally passed?
Before Lamido? No, I mean, then...
No, Abubakar Rimi.
No, we see...
the two of you left.
Yeah, we left,
yes,
You
left Aminu Kano.
We became, because of the pressure and the back, we became bonded. We were forced to bond up, because somehow we have to survive. So we became very, very close. I was very close to Rimi. I was the biggest ally in Kano up to the time he died.
I mean, for two of you to have left that kind of powerful force, I just thought that you guys would be together for as long as you live and breathe.
And then again,
but then somehow you now had a problem with Rimi.
Yeah, but it's also a human element. The human element, which you could not comprehend, neither can I comprehend. It's about his ambition to run for president in 2003 against Obasanjo. I was then a minister. And I told them, it is simply an impossible task that somebody from a political party to come out and then against an incumbent president in the party primaries. It cannot, it is simply something impossible. It's a suicide mission. Like, for instance, today in APC, if we go for the second time, somebody in APC went against him. It doesn't make sense. So I told him that, I don't see you running against OBJ, who is the incumbent president, in the party primary, which is the leader. That's number two. The party called PDP, if it were a company, the major shareholders are the military, through Babangida, Aliou Goso, Danjuma, and the others. The old military, they are the major shareholders. Then the MPN stock, in the old MPN. And then the Eredo group, in that order. So our own group is the least shareholder, our own group.
But how does that also fly in the face of, a northern brother supporting another northern brother?
No, but you see, by the PRP philosophy and ideology, it's not about brotherhood, sisterhood, or religion. It's about, reality.
It was also alleged that you supported Nnamdi Azikiwe, in the 80s.
Yeah, because
you supported him over Aminu Kano.
No, because I thought that in 1979, one election under PRP. By 1983, we left PRP. We were in MPP. And therefore, we have no obligation for Mali anymore because we have left his own party, resigned for the position we hold, left the government, and therefore, we are now independent-minded people.
So for Zik, what was it about Zik that also endeared, you to him, in such a way that you sacrificed everything, your political, alliances for a person of Zik? Because, before now you have said, in the course of this conversation, you have said that Aminu Kano was somebody, you follow, people with strong character. Aminu Kano was somebody, it wasn't about the party, it was about him. And now you also supported Zik. Was it about Zik now or about the party?
You see, even during the old NEPO days, Zik and Malan were in alliance. Under the NEPO and the NC thing. When the MPN was prosecuting, when the MPC was prosecuting members of the NEPO group, it was Zik who came to their aid with lawyers and support. So NC and the PRP and NEPO were in a kind of alliance. So there's history already between Mala Aminu Kano and Azukwe, which means they must have something in common for them to come together in those days. And therefore, when we were forced to leave PRP, because we were forced, I never wanted to leave PRP. I was forced by circumstances.
But how did your own the northern region, what was the perception of the northern region when you crossed from Aminu Kano to Nnamdi Azikiwe?
Look,
How did they see you?
you see, when I was supporting Jonathan, I was called a pastor, I was called a Christian, wasn't I? For supporting Jonathan. Because I feel support Buhari. Because Buhari, they say, is the only person with integrity, with character, blah. And I know it's all a ruse, tekla. Why must I simply submit to what you think I should be, not what I think I am?
But I'm actually curious. What gives you this courage?
Eh?
What gives you this courage? Because knowing what we know about the kind of pressure, the immense pressure that can come from, standing alone or being on your own lane, especially from this part of the country, can be overpowering, can be overwhelming.
That pressure coming.
What gives you this courage?
That pressure coming. Is it a very, very genuine thing, based on something which is more sincere and honest? Or is based on simply something purely ephemeral? Something which you want to, which is simply there for interest. Why must you intimidate me to believe in, to promote your own interest? Why must you? For me to promote your own interest. Does it make sense?
Some will say for peace to reign.
But whose peace? Yours or mine?
Okay. Let's leave that there and let's come to PDP. For some people, they have this opinion, and it's just, observers and probably players as well. Some people think that the PDP does not have an ideology. And I am compelled to ask you, as a founding father of that party, what the ideology is. What is it that, made you come up with that party? And if that same ideology is still binding on the party?
You see, in 1998, when we came to form the PDP, it was based on some clear understanding of our history, our political history. The truncation of democracy in 1983 by Buhari. The military, rule, or interregnum, from Buhari to Babangida, Ala Kweme, Adamu Chiroma, Sonomallah, Abubakar Rimi, Jere Gana, Yoche Ayu, myself, and Senator Ella. We met at Ikoyi, number 9 Raymond Street, to take stock of Nigeria. Because at that time, we have formed political parties which are not released by Abacha. After the problem of June 12, then Abacha came with his own transition. We formed our political parties, and which Abacha said they are not qualified. And so these 9 people met at Hello. What is going to happen in Nigeria? How do you take part under this Abacha transition is a charade. The entire purpose of the transition was for Abacha to self-succeed himself. Self-succeed, isn't it? So we still not take part in the transition because we're not being able to fully reconcile June 12. The aftermath of June 12, in terms of the national division, the ill feeling, the suspicion, the notion that the entire thing was done against the Yorubas because of North. So if Abacha was going to succeed again, it means under Buhari, under Shagari, you have Buhari, you have Babangida, now Abacha. It doesn't make sense because, how do you get Junta sandwiched in the kind of crisis? No matter what you do. So, the formation of PDP is based on this history. Nigeria is a very, very important country in the Committee of Nations. Nigeria is the leader of the black race. If Nigeria doesn't get things right, the black man will not get things right in this world because we should be the reference point of the black man. So what do we do to ensure that we restore Nigeria to be able to get it properly placed to play its own role of a leader of the black race and also a reference point? Which means there are some internal problems which we have to be able to look at and see how do we reconcile them. And the main issue was June 12th. How do we lead the country politically? And then, of course, putting the right kind of government in place. And then we'll confront the human development. But there is no way we can forge ahead if there is no reconciliation, if there is no unity. And this issue of June 12th has to be settled first. So, when we met in G9, there are some challenges. When we met at G9, at the G9 meeting, I mentioned all this in my book. That's why I don't want to keep on revealing them. Why are you forcing me?
Because not everybody can afford your book. But not everybody can afford your book. But some people can tune on and stumble on this interview. And in 20, 30 years, people, this interview will still be very relevant.
The book will be there. Therefore, you see, I will not say this, I will compel you to buy the book. So when in 1998, after Abacha died, and under Abdul Salami's transition, we said, look, how do we address this issue of trust in Nigeria caused by June 12th? The Yorubas, who I'm sorry to say no, they don't believe in June 12th. They only believe in the victory. They never believe in Abiola. This I can tell you. But then, because none of them was an active member of the SDP, which produced Abiola. None of them. All the key Yoruba elements, the Afeni, the Boling, all of them were against PDP because of Abiola. So to them, anybody who on his own becomes something without their support is an aberration. And that's why people like Tinubu, Obasanjo, and Abiola are unique. Because they came out, they became what they are outside the Yoruba platform. Outside the Yoruba Afeni support. Ab initio, where do we locate the presidency? Where do we locate it? In the north, there'll be a problem because from Yakubu Gowon to Murtala to Shagari, then Obasanjo, of course, in between, and then Buhari, Babangida, Abacha or Salami is unfair. Then it means the accusation that, it is simply because the northerners who are doing that, at least in power, there'll be some problem. So fair enough. Let us sacrifice the northern interest and play the presidency to the southwest to appease the Yorubas. So before even the party was thoroughly, before even the convention, we knew where we were going to have where we were locate the presidency. It's predetermined. So it means it's democracy, but then it's also guided democracy.
Calculated.
Good. To be able to restore Nigeria, get Nigeria reconciled, and then stabilized, united, and then we face human development. So the election of 1998 of Obasanjo was not about power, or infrastructure, or industry, or even employment, or even about food. It's about getting Nigeria reconciled first. The only way is give it to the Yoruba man. So anyway,
PDP.
Ideology. PDP, it's not about ideology, it's about, doing the right thing at the right time to save Nigeria.
So what are the core values of the party? What are the core values of PDP?
That's what you're talking now. I mean, if there are no core values, you wouldn't be here today. Because in 1998, you can't ask me this kind of question. When the party was being formed, we look at the bigger picture. You could not argue. Simply, okay, I follow, I agree. I mean, those who are talking now, even Buhari, could not have talked in 1978, in 1998. So when we're talking about Nigeria, the core values are first, national unity and brotherhood and sisterhood. That it's a country which is collectively ours. Therefore, we must unite around it. That is the core value.
One of the founding PDP members also mentioned that, because I asked this question, I want to ask him, about the ideology of PDP, he said that, well, at the time when PDP was being founded, it was more of grabbing power from the military. But it would seem afterwards you took the power from military, stabilized the country at that time. And then it was
don't-
more like,
come,
what exactly
come,
are
come,
we
come,
together
come,
for?
come again. You said about grabbing power?
Okay, maybe I would use a different word. Taking power
No,
from.
what did he say? The man, what did he say?
What he said was that at that time, there was crisis in the country. And they needed, just like you said, that they needed to at least, just calm the nerves of people who felt, there were so many things that were going awry. Now, what they did at that time was to form a political party, which was the PDP, to come together, to have a forum where people of different interests came together to come take power from the military at that time.
No.
So
No.
what would be your
No,
own
no.
response to that to that thought
You see,
or to that position?
you see, after an element, after Babangida, after Abacha, the military was fatigued. They are tired. They are trying to run away from power. Therefore, they need something which will be able to hold the country together because they could not. There was so much fatigue in the military because they have been around for too long, and therefore people no longer trust them or believe in them.
Unpopular.
Eh?
They were becoming unpopular.
And I don't know. It's a question of trust. That the role they are playing for Nigeria, they could not do it anymore. How do you develop if there is no peace, if there is no trust? How do you develop? So the issues of human development in 1998 were not there at all. It's not about it's not about power. It's just about power.
So are you saying that there was no ideology at that time?
No. What the main ideology was that where was Nigeria then? The main ideology, the main focus was that this country given to us by God is playing and do a number of things wrong. How do we make sure they know we do the right thing? It's not about political power management. Our main problem is political power management. If we don't manage it properly, it will destroy us. So whatever is the ideology can only function when there is a country called Nigeria united and stable.
Because like in America, for instance, if you ask a Democrat, what's the ideology behind this party? Straight up, they will tell you even in their sleep. If you ask a Republican, the same thing. Democrat, the same thing. But I don't know if we have that same kind of disposition to the political parties we have today.
That is the problem we have in Nigeria. Wrong comparison. In the Nigerian environment, American environment, tell me. The Nigerian environment, is it American environment? I'm asking you.
Aren't we emulating?
No.
Our constitution is not modeled around the American constitution.
What I'm saying,
we copied a lot of things from them. Even this whole democracy of a thing, it was copied from somewhere.
How old is the American democracy? How old is it?
Oh.
Tell me. No, tell me.
Well, is it because of the age?
No, tell me. How old is it?
Is it because of the age?
No. You see, what I'm saying, things must evolve on some fundamentals.
But don't you think it is okay for me to have asked that, if something was founded and something must be based on something? It's like building a house. When you build a house, you build it on the foundation. So I'm asking you, what is the definition of this foundation? What is the foundation about?
No. You are talking about a finished house. It's all about wishful thinking. Look, what makes a country? People who are disciplined. People who believe in law and order. People who are willing to make sacrifices. That makes a country. Are we doing that?
And some have spoken about your relationship with Abacha. It would be nice to have a clearer understanding or a clearer picture of your relationship with Abacha.
I first met him in 1979 when I was a member of the House of Rep in Lagos. He had a classmate who was his friend in the House of Reps, Saliki Adam, who's now late. We got along very, very well. And the typically, yabbing and jabbing of the Kanuri and the Fulani. And then one day I said to him, look, with all this, you are big marks. From there I see you, you are going to be a coupist one day. He said, please leave me alone. I beg you, don't let them kill me. I mean, jokingly, I said so. I said, look, from there you look, with all these, you are big marks. I see in you a future coup piece. And then we laughed off. But then from there, we got along very, very well. We got along very, very well. We only parted ways, when he wanted to transform into a civilian head of state. But he made me a member of the Constitutional Conference, his own member. He put my name there on his own because he wanted me to play a role. So, but somehow along the line, after he was trying to transform, I went to him and said, no, I can't. And I said this also in my book. It's all there in my book.
So what would have made him? I mean, this is somebody you were laughing with, you were playing with,
Oh, yes.
you have a relationship, for him to now get to that point where he had to jail you. What would have, brought that relationship to that level?
No. You see, do you know what is called power? Do you know what is called power? If you challenge power, there'll be consequences. Simple. Challenge power, there'll be consequences. Are you willing to confront the consequences? Simple.
Were you shocked? Were you surprised
Me and
about
Rimi
that
me and
move?
Rimi were locked up, over this G18 thing and the agitation against him. You see, that's the thing. People talking, who are not talking about Nadeko, Nadeko play, were only a noise-making institution, just for the world to know. But then those who actually fought for democracy, I know Nadeko. Nadeko is something which is only for the international community, political thing, just for the kicks of it. Other in terms of effect, relevant, no. We fought Abacha. I went to jail. I only came out of jail after he died.
But he also gave you an appointment.
Huh?
Did he not give you an appointment?
No, he gave me the appointment as member of the Constitutional Conference. But after the conference, he wanted to turn into a civilian head of state. That's when we fell out. So those who fought Abacha, really, it's not Nadeko. I mean, Nadeko was out of the country. He was happy here. He was comfortable. But then people here, the other Okaimas, the Adamu Chiromos, Solomon Laos, the Jerry Ganos, the Ayus, the other, were them who will give him Abacha hell, the Limis. He was very happy with the Nadeko because they're outside making noise. But here in the country, those who matter most, who are giving problem was G9 and G18.
If you want to put it in clear terms, what role did you really play in this June 12th struggle? What role did you play?
Read my book. You see, I was the party secretary who won the election. I was secretary of the SDP. Don't forget. Tony and I was the chairman. I was secretary of the party. We campaigned for Abiola. And up to the election, we're in the coalition center. When the coalition was stopped, we're only waiting for Taraba. When the coalition was stopped, after 2 days it was annulled. So I've been active. I know what happened. Read my book. People who are verified, who are verified to Nene, I have not seen somebody who fought for June 12 more than Tony Nene. He fought for June 12. He fought and told him, in a meeting, he told him get off. He told him off. Look, no Yoruba man had any input in making Abiola Nigerian president. He told my good friend, the governor of Ogun, Show Osoba, who was doing everything possible.
Okay, it leads me to the next question, which would be on your relationship with Obasanjo. Now, in the course of our conversation, we've established that, okay, you supported Obasanjo because you felt he was an incumbent, and then he had a better chance in the party to project the party at the national level.
Is it the first term or second term?
Second term.
Oh, second term, okay.
Second term was when, Rimi wanted to come up and become a presidential candidate under that same party.
Yeah.
Now, some people would also say, perhaps your loyalty to Obasanjo may probably be tied to maybe some of the things you stand to gain, and which is one of which is, becoming a Minister of Foreign Affairs during his regime. Yeah. How would you respond to that? Because even Rimi was also, when he failed to get to that top, he was also gunning for that Foreign Affairs ministry. He wanted to become the Minister of Foreign Affairs. But it was given to you, and he felt, or it was alleged.
I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Okay.
How's he feeling? What was Rob doing? I don't know.
Okay.
But then, I told you, when he came, after Obi's 4 years, after the country has been stabilized and reconciled, we're now facing human development. And Obi was to go his own second term. That's the whole he wanted to contest, isn't it? Now, I told you, by the party's configuration, in terms of the components, the main component of the party was the military. Aliyu Gusau, Babangida, Danjuma, and many, many others, all of them, all the generals. And the incumbent government of Salami was also much more inclined to that group. So you can say the government, in a way, was in tandem with these military officers who were trying to make sure they know the political party in government. The other group was the NPM group. The Adamu Chiromas and many others, who have been known all over Nigeria as political leaders. With the other component of the PDP. The third one was the Radwa dynasty, his political class, which he formed. All right? So these three are all institutions in their own right, with no division. Now, the fourth component was the progressives, which is people in MPP and the PRP, or the Radwa. The other group, so it means in this company called PDP, we are simply a minor shareholder. Whatever you want to say. Whether, because I'm greedy, because I'm selfish, say anything you want to say, I have no problem. But I walk with my eyes wide open. So I say, how do you think a member of a political party, no matter how powerful he is, will now come out and challenge an incumbent president in a party primary where he's the leader, and then pick him as the candidate? And then for the people who lost the primary to now come and contest for an election and then over to him. So I said, tell me, how do you think you can defeat Obasanjo at the primaries? Emerge as the candidate, and then for also Obasanjo to organize an election for you. And number two. Number two, how about the component of the military in them? The Obangidas, the Aliyu Gusau, the Outliers, the Danjuma, and others. Do you think they can tolerate you as the president? Number three, our strong enemies, the NPM group. The Adobucho and the other in the NPM. And number four, the Radwa factor, who is equally ambitious. Do you think he'll tolerate it?
General
Erdogan.
Yeah.
Huh? So the issue is something which is very real. So I told him, then he said, look, and he told me like you are saying now. He said, look, I know Sule you because you are greedy. You are not, so that's why you don't support me. He told me this. I said, yes, I am. Will not fight. Give me the guarantee that you are going to defeat Obasanjo in the primaries and be a young president, then I'll come to you. Give me the guarantee. Because you are trying to simply provoke me, to fight you, I will not fight you. I agree. I'm greedy.
Okay, so let's go into this. You were a minister of Foreign Affairs.
Yeah.
And during that time, Nigeria, made some giant strides. Being a player in the Committee of Nations. I'm struggling with what Nigeria was then and what Nigeria is, the perception of the world. What was the magic wand you used during that time to be able to garner that kind of support, respect, as a nation, as against what we are facing today?
There's a background. You see, OBJ was personally known number two man. OBJ.
Was what?
Murtala Mohammed. He was in the Murtala Mohammed. He was chief of staff army. I think they are then called what, Chief of Staff Supreme Military Headquarters. Chief of Staff Supreme Military Headquarters at that time, under Murtala. Murtala was in Kampala, Uganda. Was it Uganda or somewhere in the OA Summit? He made a very, very powerful speech at that place. You remember? His speech about Nigeria coming of age, Africa coming of age, that nobody gives up orders. Remember? That caused his assassination by the CIA. That's why he was assassinated. So it means our foreign policy under Mutla had been very, very strong and robust. Was Obasanjo at the prime minister at the time, or as his deputy. So it means he's coming from a very, very strong trajectory historically of a foreign policy management. All right? When he took over, under him, Nigeria was a frontline state on the issue of Angola and South Africa. Remember? It's about foreign policy. So Obasanjo had this kind of standing on Nigeria as a leader in Africa. He's somebody who had been through life. So by the time he came a second time, is somebody who Nigeria knew very, very well and what he can do and what he cannot do. And Obasanjo is a very, very courageous person. Obasanjo is very original. Obasanjo is very, very raw. He doesn't any way close his feelings to please you. You say the way it is, they take it or you leave it. So when he came as the president, he was his own foreign minister. I was really learning under him. Don't forget this. No Nigerian had the kind of experience in foreign affairs like OBJ when he came second time. So that's why he was able to lead me and lead Nigeria into the world stage where we became a prominent player on issue of debt recovery. You understand me? On all roles, on G77. And he gave me the latitude to do what I think I can do right. And a number of things I did, America will complain to Obasanjo. Oh yeah, they do. A number of issues on policy. Look, you are a minister, it's also and so. He said, okay, because I talked to him. What could he say? He said, don't mind them. You see? Because we share this kind of passion for Africa. The role of the black man, his standing, his dignity in the community, within the community of nations. What Obasanjo can tell America, or can tell Britain, or Russia, or America, who will have the courage to say, actually Nigeria says, who is that Nigeria who say? Nobody.
For the benefit of the student of history, what would you say were your landmark achievements during your time as a foreign minister, and how has that also metamorphosed into how Nigeria is being perceived, in the Committee of Nations today?
You see, I play the role of the function of my office. To me, everything is very important. Everything I did is very important. I might have made some mistakes. I have no problem. I own them. But then for me to say this or that, it doesn't even appear, because you play a role within a given time under the circumstances.
1 hour obviously is not enough to do justice to you as a person of interest in the political terrain. So we would have to split this interview into another part so that students of history will have the benefit of hearing everything you have to say. Maybe you'll be a source of inspiration to some people, and not everybody would buy into all that you have said. But however it is, Conversation with History will continue on the next episode. Until then, like I'd always say, be kind to one another and stay well. Still to come. But how did your own the northern region, what was the perception of the northern region when you crossed from Aminu Kano to Nnamdi Azikiwe?
They went to my house trying to kill my family. Oh, yes.
Okay, so now let's go to your roots. You're originally from Kano.
Yeah.
Right? And now you are an indigene of Jigawa State.
I am a citizen of Nigeria.
Beyond being, because I'm also a citizen of Nigeria.
Fine.
Because some people will get confused. At one time, okay, he's an indigene of Kano, and now he's an indigene of Jigawa. What happened? What happened?
You see,
because what we heard
yeah,
was that you were such a headache to the government of Babangida. He felt that you were you were such a distraction, and he decided to carve out a whole state to be able to contain you in Jigawa so that you can leave the politics of Kano for them. How true is that assertion, or how true is that allegation? For those who have a misconception of Sule Lamido, if you're to describe yourself to them, or to put the record straight, or to mirror yourself to them as you really are, what words will you be using to describe yourself? You had a predecessor, and that's in the person of Ibrahim Turaki. Some have said that Turaki came with a different agenda, which was to industrialize Jigawa. At some point, Jigawa, with the Galaxy backbone and some, technological innovations, they would give him credit for that. But it would seem when you came in, at least that's what has been alleged, when you came in, you discontinued some of those projects and those policies, you cut it off and you started off with your own. What exactly did you have in mind when you decided to do that? Your son also contested for that position, for the same position as the governor of Jigawa State. Father has been a governor of Jigawa State. The son also contested as a governor of Jigawa State. So the question some people may want to ask is it becoming a family affair? Is it some kind of,
Do you blame them for asking?
Party members have hobnobbed from one party to another. But for some reason, against all odds, you have stuck with the PDP. Now the question, therefore, is, what is your staying power?
If the idea I'm going to a new arrangement is for those same ideas, as part of my PDP, I'll go.
But are you open to it?
I'm open. Very, very open. Very, very open. I'm more than willing to do anything to rescue Nigeria, but then for Nigeria, not for the purpose of taking political power.
The Vincent Obolafo's statement about, whether Nigerians like it or not, PDP will be in power for the next 60 years. Could that also be that cockiness, that arrogance? Could it also have provoked what has happened to the PDP
look at it,
today?
You see, the behavior and particularly, conduct of a political person should not be generalized, as a PDP phenomenon. You are generalizing.
No, it's not me. You know that. I.
Who gave you the mandate?
No,
who gave the mandate to kind of talk like this?
Oh my God!
You are arrogating. You are simply arrogating.
Oh my God! I've had a good one today.